Homework.
Why did it just zoom in that far? What is it doing?
It's pretend. It's really
Why?
nothing.
Why? Why are you doing
I'm gonna
that?
ask when I
Oh, calm down, Brian.
You should have got a haircut before
All right. Okay, everybody, may I have your attention to COVID? May I have your attention? We are going to continue our historical thinking skills lesson today. We're going to follow up with our learning logs and our birth stories. But before we do that, I want to go over some very elementary issues about sourcing. And I have a PowerPoint on here. It doesn't go with our textbook. I found it this morning. It goes with a science book. But, like I told you yesterday, to follow up, when you are dealing with documents that you have to think about and analyze in U.S. history, most of it is kind of black and white. Where the gray comes in is your thought process and how you analyze it, summarize it, and tell me why it even matters. Today we're just going to look at some different examples of documents. You will have a sheet, you have a sheet at your table called Thinking Like a Historian. At each group, you will fill out these sheets together. And I think you'll be able to put it in your own words once you see this. Tania, could you get the lights, please?
Yeah, you always get the lights.
All right. The news, understanding nonfiction text. Of course, you can use this with science as well. This is really below your grade level, but you will get the point. What are text features? Authors include text features to help the reader better understand what they have read. Text features provide information that may not be written in the text itself. Text features can be found in textbooks, magazines, articles, newspapers, reports, web pages, and other forms of nonfiction text. All right, everybody open your textbook and let's find the table of contents. I know you know how to do that. But last year, we didn't have textbooks when we started, so this year we're all going to be on the same page. You forgot your textbook, share with someone.
I forgot we had textbooks. The second day I had it. I just sit there.
Okay, Cody, since you made a point to go get your textbook, I want you to look up the table of contents, and I want you to tell me what is the first chapter that we will cover.
The first American.
The first American. Okay, this is history, 1865 to present. So, we will start in the middle of our textbook. So, let's find which chapter we're going to be starting with, so we're all together. We are probably going to be starting number 19, Opening the West. That will be where we start. That is where your end of year exam will start. We'll be getting the West settled. But you see, you get my point. The table of contents gives you the lowdown of what we're going to be doing this year. Index. Everybody turn to their index. Any reliable textbook's going to have an index.
I guess it's a new book.
Okay. I'm going to give you an example. One of the people we will be talking about when we open the West will be General Custer. See if you can find Custer's last name.
I'm already right here. I got it.
Okay, what page, Cody?
Oh wait, no I don't have it. 982.
Let's flip it, Lee. Tell us what's on there.
Everybody.
You see him.
Y'all say
Maybe he's under G.
yeah.
No, he'll be under C. And maybe they don't have, okay, find Transcontinental Railroad. Let's do something that's not a person. Do you see the Transcontinental Railroad?
Yeah.
No.
Okay?
No.
I see it.
Transportation.
Look.
Let's do Stand Back Congress.
Okay, let's do Sputnik. Sputnik.
802.
Okay, turn to page 802, Sputnik. We'll be talking about Sputnik when we get to the Cold War towards the end of the year.
This textbook, the one button you want to see.
Well, it does have it, but they probably think of those as proper nouns, and they would put that in those.
There we go.
Okay, what is Sputnik, Lee?
802.
Do you see Sputnik?
Hold on, give me 2 seconds.
Yep, I see.
I see it right here.
Okay, Johnny, what does it say about Sputnik? What is it?
Alright.
The device.
Your name ain't John.
Oh, it's a satellite.
It's a satellite. Okay, Macy, we're going to be talking about this in a few minutes. What is under a picture usually? What do you call that? A caption. Please read the caption.
The Soviet Union took an early lead in the space race when it successfully launched Sputnik in October 1957. This was the first artificial satellite or object that circles the Earth.
Sputnik was a big deal because the Russians beat the Americans. The Soviets beat the Americans, getting that launched out into space. Okay, let's go on next to the next feature of our book, the glossary. Okay, let's see if you look in the glossary if you can find Custer. Maybe they have him in the glossary, maybe not.
No.
Okay, then let's go and look at conservation. Conservation.
I see it. No way.
Conservation. Cody, what's conservation?
Protection and preservation of natural resources.
Very good. Very good. So you see, sometimes in your textbook, if you're working on vocabulary, good place to go. I know you all know this by the time you're juniors in high school, but let's just become familiar with what we have. Titles. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. Here's a copy of Natchez Democrat.
You should have got the war laws.
Why does, no, that would be pinned on the board in the back.
Oh, big dog.
Oh, y'all see it? You see it right there?
Why do newspapers put headlines?
Bacon read the
Catch your
Catches the
attention.
reader's eye.
So let's say I'm going to the coffee shop, the Natchez Coffee, and this is a vending machine outside. This paper costs $1.50. Let's say the headlines said, two-headed alligator trapped in Monterey.
read that.
That would make sense.
Well, you might think, okay, that's worth it. I want to read what the heck happened. Now, if you go in there and it's a fake story, what are you going to think about this resource?
It's
It's
crap.
stupid.
Yeah, it's not reliable. You go in, because they really want to just sell you papers, right? So somehow you've got to figure out this year what's reliable and what's not. I mean, when I go into the Walmart and I see a picture of Elvis and Marilyn Monroe and their love child, I'm like, dude, that's not real. But people buy that because they think it's like a conspiracy theory and that they're really around. So you get an idea where the newspaper is going. Subheadings. Caitlin, find a subheading. It can be anywhere in your book. Find a subheading and just tell me what it says. Supposedly. Okay, what is it? So what is the subheading going to tell us?
It's gonna tell us what's like.
When Nathaniel Greene and everybody got to Yorktown, and that's what the last battle of the American Revolution, and that's where America, it was like unbelievable that we won, and the French had come to help us, and we trapped him, and he had to surrender at Yorktown. So, you know, captions are an easy way to go through your book, and usually they're a different color, just to catch your eye. Text. We talked about a little bit of text when Macy read about Sputnik. How many times have you taken a test in your past where the teacher has found some tiny little bit of information below a picture, and you swear you had never seen that or heard that? It's kind of a trick play that they use sometimes to get you to read the captions. That's why they're important. I mean, that's why they put them in there. I don't need to explain photographs. Visual aids help us all. Captions. Our textbook. While we're on textbook, since that's what we're using, is that, Dawson, a primary or secondary source?
Secondary,
Why?
because it wasn't, like, the people who wrote it wasn't there.
Right. They were not there. Lee.
It's a text box.
Oh, text box, sorry. Text box. What is a primary source, Lee? It's right on the wall. Y'all remember those green cards, because they're important. They'll help you all year.
Green
Are you
cards.
typing for the definition or giving?
Yeah, just read it.
It's a document or physical object that was written or created by someone who was present during the historical event or era.
Like a journal.
Like it's an
or something.
original.
Yeah. I mean, this is a primary document, newspaper, but also a journal, autobiography. Maps. We'll use lots of maps this year. Not as many as I'll probably be using in geography, but you know, some maps can be a little tricky. Do I know everything about maps? Heavens no. If you give me a map about the climate and how to read the waves and how the hurricane's coming through, you found the wrong person. I'm gonna go across the hall to Miss Dunbar. But you cannot study maps, you cannot study history without the use of these things. Diagrams. You're going to see diagrams on your end of year test. You're going to see diagrams on the ACT. They want you now to be able to explain them. Same thing with graphs, which we're going to get to in a minute. If I don't teach you those skills and you can't do it, you're going to miss those questions. And there's no reason to, because we can figure this out. Tables. This is a very elementary table. Sometimes they're not quite as easy when you start getting into some more detailed subjects. But, okay, great example. I'm about to build a house. Why would I want to build my house at Crater Lake and not Mount St. Helens?
Because it's not as big mountains, it looks like.
What is this table
Oh,
about?
volcanoes, never mind, it's not volcanoes.
Yeah, and these are active volcanoes and eruptions. I might want to go to Crater Lake because, you know, it shows that there's not quite as many. I might be a little safer. Timelines. You know I love timelines. You're going to see those almost probably any test you take in your future. Sequencing of events is a skill they think all students should have. And I feel pretty good about y'all with timelines. I mean, last year I felt like we covered that a lot. Then the last one is just news. And we will be doing some current events. That will be some of your homework this year. And I'll ask you to find certain current events and tell me why you shared it. I'll go to some websites. Have any of you ever followed the SCIM?
Never heard of
The SCIM? It's a great website, and it really, I follow it on, I get it by email, but my daughter-in-law sent it to me on a Twitter feed. And if you get a chance, go to the SCIM. The SCIM is a great way if you, and probably as juniors in high school you don't care enough now, but let's say you're going to a business meeting or you're going to play a round of golf with your boss in 10 years and you hadn't watched the news in 2 months because it upsets you and you just don't want to watch it. You can go to SCIM and they just skim through the news and they tell you the main things that's happening, and that is everything from Kanye West saying he's running for president to what has happened in Syria and the immigration crisis. The skim just hits it all, and it's not long, and it'll take you to websites. It's a great resource for a student. What I want you to work on now in tables, I want you all to write your name on this Thinking Like a Historian page. And, very good. And I want you to help each other in groups, fill this out, and talk about these skills. Put a name to them. Name them. Write in complete sentences. By juniors, I shouldn't have to tell you that. And I'll give you a few minutes. I'll give you about 30 minutes to complete that. Like I said, talk it out. Work in groups. These are skills that you will need all year.
So like, we're gonna find
They're kind of common sense questions.
Oh yeah, I thought it was like a trick.
No, there's no trick. There's no trick. I just want us to be aware of some very basic thinking skills. Keisha is the only one absent today. I hope she's all right. Johnny, you might want to like get in where you can get the scoop now. and then we're gonna look at the green sheet, and we're gonna build on what you did yesterday in your learning law.
Got it.
Was I supposed to ask my mama, cause I didn't?
Oh, that's part, you're gonna conduct an interview tonight with someone in your family. And you're going to see if what your story, what you think your story is, corroborates with theirs. And you're just checking sources. And I know this is a very, easy task.
So like any story?
Well, I'll explain it when we get there. I'm not gonna explain your homework yet. Let's finish this first sheet so we can go over those answers, and then I'll explain what we're gonna do. Overthinking it. Description, like, you know, we're talking about like a sentence structure. Why would you use description? What is description? Yes, I mean, it's very simple.
So I can put description is
Some of these things ask, when you get into the second and third pages, they ask for some graphic organizers or way to organize some of these text structures. I mean, this is simple. Don't overthink this. The one, what number is it that they won't compare, Dawson?
7.
Okay, number 7. Dogs and cats. They share 4 legs, 2 eyes, 2 tails. How are they different?
Dogs are nicer.
when's it all?
Opinion. Opinion thing. Who barks?
One is
Who barks?
One is a feline. One is a feline.
Feline.
And one is a canine.
Very good.
Yeah.
Leonard's a cat.
Leonard's fat.
That's right, Leonard.
Meows.
Izzy, Roxy's
Cody's
dead.
A
living
feline.
one sucks, one doesn't.
Okay, you get my point. This is very simple stuff, but I just want you to all have the same thought patterns that we're gonna start. This is easy. When we start seeing which speech is propaganda and which one is not, it's a little gray. It gets your opinion going. Y'all finished back here? Come on, let's get it going. What does a historian do? You just had to just sum it up.
Get evidence from the
It's
past.
like whenever you go, like, on the door or something, like a story.
Or you are a teacher and you try to give a medium view that's very non-judgmental. You know, if I could come in here and just give all my opinions and say this is exactly how it is and this is how you need to think. No, all I can do is share what has happened, how history tends to repeat itself, and you have to form the judgment on how do the 1920s compare with the 1980s? In a nutshell, this year I'll be telling you that they compare because they were both excessive. Think of Great Gatsby and think of Wolf of Wall Street.
They both have great actors.
But they are very, I mean, compare those 2 decades. They're a lot more alike than not.
There's a bunch of partying going on.
Yeah.
Drugs everywhere.
The 80s were all about cocaine. I said
We're 18 right now.
that was a fun time for cocaine.
Really is.
My grandma. My grandma.
No, I'm not walking around a war every day. You see it? You got
Chicken pecking corn.
No, it's not so pecky corn yet. We might warm up to that later on. I don't want to scare our new classmen.
Don't be choked out.
It's okay, Kat. We got corn and I was putting a timeline of my morning for sequences.
Yeah, and I mean,
And I said I left corn.
some sequences, you know, they do those little text boxes with arrows. Sometimes it's just a purity timeline. There are all kind of graphic things we think of in our minds to help us get down to an analysis of documents. It's 11:30.
We have 30 minutes till lunch, Pepper. Calm down.
No, I thought we got this class like.
You will survive.
I think he needs about 2 sandwiches.
Cody, you would not starve.
Okay, well.
I never knew. That's why I asked. I'm not talking about reading lunch.
Elevate 2 sandwiches before you do.
Okay, that's an homework.
Okay, if you have finished with that sheet, please read over the green sheet, put your name on it, and read over it, and we're gonna talk about, your homework / project for the evening. Because y'all are gonna go out into the field and gain some type of evidence to back up what you think happened in your life.
Like the
Probably something. Oh my God.
No.
That's really unique cursive.
It's like hieroglyphics.
It's beautiful. It's very unique. I give you that.
That's how they write down in Monterey.
What's the point of you?
Oh, he was looking at the wrong one. You gotta look at this one.
Oh, okay, I gotta see the right one.
That's the good one.
Oh, that's pretty.
The other one's
But now,
not
do
right.
you end the sentence with is, and you don't have a period?
I just wrote down that men have estrogen.
Yes, I understand why it is what it is. Period.
Answer one and answer.
Nailed it.
I wanna see the good cursive.
New me.
I said
It's
it
got
couldn't
them
be a fault.
extensions coming, so.
It's like primary and
Okay,
Don't get mad
this is.
about looking
Text structure, that, all these things are talking about text
It's
structure.
eligible.
And primary, what's a primary source? People who were there, the newspaper, you know, the journal that the lady kept in Civil War, that type of stuff. Cause and effect, don't overanalyze it.
I'm
Cause and
trying to figure out how to
effect
put it
is
in
in a graphic organizer. I mean, don't, you know, 2 columns. I mean, very simple. Don't make it difficult.
Dude, I think you paid the greatest of all.
A sequence is like, you can either think of those little text boxes, a sequence of events, or think of a timeline.
That's the only way I got the definition of a sequence of events. That's what I thought in my head.
Yeah.
Like it occurs like right
Oh,
after.
comparing?
And you know, these little strategies, believe it or not, will help you when you have to do writing. If you can just think of those things, it'll help you. I mean, they're traits that we forget we even have sometimes.
Might just put mine.
Hey, every time we got to have this discussion.
No, please don't say it. Please.
She knows what the discussion is, so ask her every time you pass out.
I'll
Please
go
don't.
around.
That's pretty good. Okay, let's start talking about some of these answers.
Fred, how you doing?
Well, that's,
You said you were done as soon as you said do it.
It's harassment.
okay.
So she needs to already go.
Rasha, number 1, read it and tell me what you got, please, ma'am.
What is a century? A century is a period of 100 years.
Excellent. Okay, Caitlin, describe the work of a historian, since we just talked about that.
Wait, other one.
Other Caitlin, sorry.
I'm so used to it. Give a background to
Yes, it helps. There's a little more to it, yes.
We can call them C8 and K8.
What the heck?
It sounds like
a
Clay Aiken.
Clay Aiken.
Clay Aiken, Caitlin.
Okay, why is it, Cody, that 2 people can describe the same event?
In different ways, they have different perspectives.
Yeah. Does it mean they're both wrong or both right? Yeah, we all have different DNA,
I
different
write
views.
all the time if I'm going to tell a story. It's 95% truthful.
Janiyah, what is a primary source?
over there.
What is it?
Like,
Pay attention. Don't lean in your chair, break the chair.
but it's like a story or like a written document from someone who is present at the time of the event.
Excellent. Give me some examples.
Like whenever Jake Martin writes the paper, like the sports section, like he was there. And
He was at the ball game, so he's given his analysis. His analysis. Okay, secondary source, Dawson.
A document created by someone who wasn't there.
Like what?
A textbook
Yeah.
and a biography.
And a blog.
Very good. Okay, now we're talking about text structure. These are the things that are that's going to give your writing some specific differences in others. Description. Emily. It's easy.
A description is spinning.
Yeah, I mean, your description of Delta Charter would be
It's great.
very different from Caitlin's description of Delta Charter, even though you're here at the same thing.
The island, so.
Number 7, comparison. DeCoven.
Maybe similarities between two and more things.
Yeah, simple. And sequence. Johnny, since you had sequence in your brain, what's sequence?
Like, to me, it's to occur right after nothing, like a timeline. That's what would be my example.
Yeah.
You know, when you start walking, then you start talking and all that.
Well, and in history, it's on a timeline. We can't have, airplanes before we have trains. And I know that's elementary, but you'd be surprised at what some people don't have in chronological order. Point of view. William Dove, that's a good one for you. What is a point of view?
Point of view of the one person's opinion on a story with no physical evidence.
And in this class, the whole point is we want a point of view with evidence. Something needs to, and your point of view might differ from mine or Macy's, but at least you have something that gives it gives you the logic. And then cause and effect, Brian. What's cause and effect? Well, you know what cause and effect is. You don't practice football, what's the effect? You're not gonna win. You don't lift weights, you're not gonna be strong. I mean, don't overthink these things. All right, everybody get out your learning logs from yesterday. And someone at each table pass out a sheet of this legal size paper.
Legal size.
What's the legal size? What's the illegal size?
Talking about cap.
22 feet long. You said pass it out.
Okay. Y'all follow along, and I will tell you what we're gonna do. following up with what you wrote yesterday as your birth story. And this is the part of the snapshot autobiography project. It says, what is history? Many people describe history as a study of the past, a huge collection of names, dates, and facts that you're expected to memorize. Okay, show me a hand again of who learned the preamble to the Constitution.
I'll memorize.
And I bet you say it every morning when you wake up, right?
You didn't learn
Maybe
it.
it's-
You didn't learn it.
You know what I say when I wake
You didn't
up?
learn
I
it, you
say,
forgot it.
The goal of this assignment is for you to discover other meanings of history and to recognize why it is important. Not to memorize it, but to understand why it even happened and why it even matters now. In this project, you will think about the meaning of history by describing and illustrating several events in your own life. Finding a witness to provide another description of one of those events and thinking about the similarities and differences between the two descriptions. So please turn over the page and you'll see on the back, name a person being interviewed. Don't write mama. Write a person's name, add the date, and this is how this is going to work. We are making a pamphlet of a little mini synopsis of your life. This is a map, but this is the closest thing I had to a pamphlet right handy. You're going to fold this where you have 4 panels on each side. The front panel is going to be your title of your pamphlet. Now, on here they suggest you put snapshots from the life of Cody. But you can name your pamphlet whatever you want. These will be graded. This is an easy way to get a good grade. Now, let me explain how easy it is. After you open your pamphlet, you will copy your birth story that you are already written. Now, if that is the story you're going to interview someone on, you might want to wait to copy that after you conduct your interview, which can be done in the car ride on the way home. Doesn't have to be any big formal thing. Then you will write 2 more stories about something that has made a difference in your life, good or bad. I will give you examples. Making a touchdown. That might be something that really, made you feel pretty good about yourself. No one else is reading this in here. I'm the only one that's going to see it, and I'm going to give it back to you. Now, if you were my son, one of my first 2, which y'all know my life,
Caleb doesn't.
the car wreck where they lost their daddy probably might qualify for one event-changing thing in their lives. My 5-year-old son was probably like, oh, yeah, that was a major event. He might write about that. You might want to write something serious, but then you might not. Don't put something ridiculous. Give me 3 stories. Your birth story and 2 more things. How old are you? 16. You've had 16 years to have 2 stories along with your birth.
I lost about that third of speed, but I was 3.
Now, listen. This interview, this interview could be done on either one of the 3 stories. It doesn't have to be your birth story. But I think the birth story is kind of interesting because you don't remember it. So that might be more interesting for you to do an interview. Okay, Dawson, example. If you wanted to use the story of you making a touchdown, who is someone you would interview?
Trey Poole,
Yeah, why?
32.
Yeah. Who, did you have anybody in the stands watching? Interview that person's perspective, what they saw. I thought Dawson was going to drop the ball, but he caught it, and, blah, blah, blah. See? There you go. I know this is simple, but you see what it means just to check your sources. We're doing an easy way for us to understand the importance of when it gets more serious. All right. Where are you gonna turn these in the morning?
In the
green
tray.
In the drawer.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, announcement to make.
Okay,
You know
Johnny.
it's Wednesday and sending homework on Wednesday.
Ooh,
Wait, what?
no homework on Wednesdays. It is Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
Yep.
Oh, well, get started right now and do as much as you can.
What, what?
Can I color it?
That's not a rule they're trying to do. Hey, y'all,
Wait, is that like a-
listen. The homework rule on Wednesdays, they kinda enacted this year because so many people do church services on Wednesdays. And I understand that. I'm not gonna hold your feet to the fire, but this is not like I'm asking you to write a dissertation on why,
I'm telling my
Magellan
husband that's
and Columbus didn't like hang out together on weekends.
Magellan and Columbia.
Columbia.
Dude,
not
I
doing it.
just,
But it's similar to Columbus.
It's like Dr. Richie.
Oh, that's pretty cool. The same, but different. You could do one of those handy dandy dog cat things.
Are you supposed to interview someone about your work?
You can interview about any of the 3 stories you choose to write
Did you get it off him?
in your pamphlet.
I'll color my.
I got a pamphlet.
Yes, you will get a better grade.
What?
The more attractive it is to the eye, the better grade you will get. Wait, we have a question.
If I see him half the day, I'm probably not gonna pick it up.
What am I?
Wait, y'all, hey, y'all,
You're right. One's like a bird story on the front of it.
the front of it, when you look at your directions, will be your cover.
Okay.
And it will say Janai's life.
We'll say my Hokie stories.
It can. And then you open it up and it will be a birth story. Then it will be when you wrecked your bike. And then it will be when you ran the New York Marathon or whatever you choose. You just have to have one of them checked. And you use this form to check. Any other questions?
I'll let you guys.
Okay, you have 15 minutes to get started.
All right, now we're on the.
Go ahead and fold it first.
Can I staple
We're
mine?
right now, I'm the top ten.
No, pamphlet's not stapled.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's just one people.
In the world.
Wait, you Sabrina,
I
you're
will.
there.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Jones. Mr. Richard said that he was his best friend.
I'm a good boy.
I thought he was his best friend yesterday.
He was married to
I'm
us.
done.
That's how I know. All right, there are color pencils on the table. Y'all can sketch it out, Jacobin, instead of writing on the board. Why don't you write the cover of your pamphlet, please?
You keep drawing little wiener dogs.
That wasn't gonna be a weird dog.
Oh, it's gonna be.
You!
I do not look like a wiener.
I wanna draw you as a pig.
Hey,
Draw you
Jacobin.
a Swanee.
Don't do that to me.
I found the pictures of them.
Please do not do that to me. I don't.
I'm so confused. I
Wow.
don't know which way to open my paper.
Okay, this is your front. Okay, that's where you can put your picture, you can draw a picture, you can draw a cartoon, whatever, light up, Brianna. Open it up. This will be your birth story.
Really?
This can be nothing, it can be decorations, it can be whatever.
No.
This is your second story. This is your third story. On the back of your pamphlet, when you read this green sheet, you will have a little quick blurb about the author. Michaela, who's the author of your pamphlet?
Me.
Of course. Okay, listen.
Hey, babe.
I need you to listen. Every book you read, pretty much, is going to have the biography or just a little byline of the person who wrote it. And so I just grabbed this one. Esther Forbes, a historian, a novelist, wrote for adults as well as young people. She received the Pulitzer Prize for History for Paul Revere and the world he lived in, and Johnny Tremaine won the Newbery Medal. They did not tell me that Esther had her toenails painted green and she liked to have, gold streaks in her hair. Just the bare minimum.
Jim.
Wait, Johnny Germain, I think I wrote that when I was little. You probably did. So, just a little byline, that is the back of your pamphlet.
Does he die at the end?
Probably. My favorite book I was little was The Adventures of Larry Finn.
Are we supposed to
It's
take
not
up the
as good
whole
as mine.
front?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
You can fill it out before the end.
Oh, I know what I can do on the back of my test.
Whatever,
Right, yeah.
what, you could draw a picture of your map.
If I could draw
If I was Cody, I would put Tiffany's glasses on the front of mine.
Macy, I think you're
Gab,
Guess what?
I knew he was there. I knew it.
in my purse so when we have meetings.
Now, one other thing, if you get home and you mess up your pamphlet, this is not historic papyrus from the Nile. Use a piece of paper and make another folder, okay? I mean, it's just,
I already messed up.
They are messed up.
here you go.
He put iron
I am Kate.
I put, I might not know like.
I'm Jazz.
My name is Squirrel.
I swear to
The absolutely true story of Dawson.
Cody, put this. Please.
I swear to you.
I'm not gonna do this.
Don't you do the things?
The sweet life.
That's it. That's it.
No,
I mean, that is catchy.
I'm putting 9, Cody.
I am a legend.
You know, I love those play on word things.
You know-
I really should
Alibaba.
put Kate. I really should have. I'm changing it. Wait,
Get another sheet of paper, here you
I'm
go.
putting I am Kate.
I'm just putting it with.
They don't get it.
You've never watched that show?
I've never watched it.
You should retire your leave.
She's so jazz about
Okay, be thinking who you're gonna interview.
Lee's like,
What
I'm gonna do my grandma, my
Do
dog.
you need like write down what they say, or we just need to?
You write down what they say, and
Right,
interview
our
notes,
story and their story.
interview notes.
Okay.
You have to put them together and write the true story.
the diary of a
For example, yesterday, I think it was Brianna who said you just didn't know anything about your birth. Was it you? Now's your chance
That's catchy.
to find out.
What if she wasn't bird? My mom was gonna tell me. I bet you.
I got about awesome.
So would that be a reliable source, Cody?
No,
The
my
true story.
mom's not reliable.
Is your dad reliable?
Heck no, he's not even here.
It'll be like.
So bad out of context, Cody.
It's okay, Caitlin can say it, it's gonna sound bad anyway. That was fun. Would you push up?
narrate my life like a little TV shows.
Everybody. He doesn't like it like it. So you're in family episode? Like where Peter sat down and tasted enough type of dinner. What about my grandpa? She stored it. Like she knew it was
Let's get my grandpa.
I'm gonna ask Papa about mine. It'll take like 2 hours to tell the story.
Today, we're not going to write in our learning logs because you're writing something else, so no extra writing today.
Alright, so we got
Do blue. Actually, no.
Stored
it's a
green
weird
and
color.
green.
It was
Dark
like
green.
dark green.
story of great.
If you want, you can use this for just decoration. You can do birth,
Good story, bad story.
or good story, good story, good story. But your birth has to be on it. That's a good story. I mean, that's,
All of that.
right?
All of that twice the same. I was in the hospital.
Well, did you have?
Will,
Hey,
would you read that about me?
That would make
Lee
you.
hired a guy to bring out-
What did you know?
You could, I mean, you just couldn't get your breath.
I can tell, I'd be able to tell.
You wouldn't even know.
I was in there mouthing the word.
You have AIDS.
Do you have a,
There's like one, one
He's
video.
saying you can do that. I have saying that it's like, I didn't have boys that with me. Mine didn't have it, but I had nephews who was, and I think he still sometimes has trouble.
I don't like all
Somehow I would know.
You made it on the
Automatically.
You got shot?
Stop. Where? That's what they have a little practice.
Is that gonna be one of your
I'm
stores?
gonna pull a Men in Black.
Yeah, these have penalties.
You never
They
knew.
have to,
Dang, I gotta make that one
But
myself.
I think really, yeah, it's still down my part.
Yeah,
I would know.
and then,
But I
It's got score on it.
so I can put their music picture.
It was like this close
Aston
before.
was cool.
They were.
Where were you?
The wood, they is.
See, now I don't, now I can explain this guy to somebody.
Pete.
The wood, the nearly used to have the wood up there.
We came here one day,
Like,
here 2 days, and now we're here
I had a little like,
Yeah, you need to.
Third day.
Tomorrow.
Okay, y'all have about 5 minutes before I'm gonna let you go to lunch. At least put your materials in your binder. And don't forget to have these release forms signed. Try to bring them back tomorrow.
we're doing the first match. Everybody.
And thank you for participating.
Oh my God.
really mine.
Hi, Gwen.
Mine's bad.
He's white, he doesn't watch.
I like not having special thanks to Lee Dog, video specialist.
I wanted to shout out to ULM.
And cut.
I'm moving your chair.
Slice.
You just gotta edit that
Your
out.
gang.
You gotta like edit everything that's videoed afterwards. Cut that out.
Look at right.
I know it, I think I need to keep that.